Joe Leigh here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Adam Smith for the very first time. How are things?
Nice to see you, and wearing a wonderful Kronk shirt as well. We're just talking off camera about our admiration, our love for Tommy the Hitman Hearns. He was absolutely my favourite when I was growing up. I remember crying when Marvin Hagler beat him, and yeah, he was an amazing fighter, and that gold of the Kronk is something very special. Emmanuel Stewart and all that. Miss those days.
Yeah, to this day it's still a great gym, but the reason we're here today, of course, is for the second leg of the tour between Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall, in Scotland yesterday, finishing off in London today. It's been a good couple of days.
Yeah, it has. It has been a great little media tour. There's been fantastic respect between the pair of them. They're good mates, sort of away from it all, but you know, as we're spending time with your opponent that you're going to, take on for real in a few weeks' time, there was some needle finally at the end, and the two proud fighters. Josh Taylor is, without question, one of the superstars of world boxing now after his amazing win against Jose Ramirez. Becoming the first UK fighter to hold all four belts is some incredible achievement. I've always liked Josh. I thought he was talented as an amateur, and very excited to see his development as a professional. We've had some of his fights on Sky, but I was very disappointed not to be able to have the Ramirez one on, and I said to him afterwards, look, is there any way we can get you back on Sky? And by way of our 4-year deal with Top Rank, now our 4-year deal with Boxer as well, and they combined forces to put on a fantastic show on February the 26th in Glasgow. So yeah, great to have Josh Taylor on Sky Sports. I think he's going to be a hugely successful fighter over the next 3 or 4 years, but he's got to deal with someone who's very hungry, who's unbeaten, untested at this level, but he's passed every other examination. So Jack Catterall's a good fighter, unbeaten in 26. He's only 28, he's a couple of years younger than Josh Taylor, and he's been waiting for this for a long time, so plotting his way. He's got a great corner team in Jamie and Nigel, so I'm looking forward to it. It's a big jump up for Jack, but it's a jump up he needs to take, and come February the 26th, we're going to see whether he can somehow wrestle those 4 belts away from Josh. It's going to be tough, though.
Yeah, you just mentioned there was a tiny bit of needle, and obviously Josh in previous fights, most recently with Jose Carlos Ramirez, fight week is a different Josh completely. He's always just a little bit more agitated. Do you think we could see potentially a little bit more beef closer when it comes closer to the fight?
I think all great fighters have that inside them, that switch to be able just to recalibrate on fight week or on fight night. Ricky Hatton used to be as nice as pie right up until the moment he left the dressing room, and they can have that incredible switch. I remember the great late Diego Corrales, another one who would just be wonderful to be around, and suddenly he go into a different place, and I think fighters have to be like that, and you learn more about them as their careers go on. But Josh is an exemplary professional. What I like about him is that he's not only been blessed with brilliant talent, but he's worked extremely hard, very dedicated. Reminds me in different ways of a Carl Froch and of a Joe Calzaghe, and I'm very fond of both of those fighters. And Joe Calzaghe, one of my favourites probably from a young boy growing up, and three-time ABA champion, unbeaten in 46. A phenomenal fighter, southpaw, a bit like Josh, very good chin, wonderful skills, just got an all-round ability. But the thing I think most important is to utilise that dedication and work as hard, even if you've got that talent. And I think Carl brought the best out of himself. I think Joe definitely did, and Floyd Mayweather's the prime example of someone like that, who's never ever out of shape, and he was as dedicated as he was talented. And I think Josh has got a really, really interesting next 3 or 4 years ahead of him, because he wants to move to welterweight. He wants to become a 2-weight champion. He's got the likes of Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and others up at that weight. There's so many fighters he could meet. But I also love the attitude that nothing matters until February the 27th, apart from Jack Catterall on the 26th, and he has to be taken care of. And that's a dangerous. That's a dangerous message, and Jack will need to be on tip-top form, but I've no doubt that Jamie Moore, my old friend, will get him into the best possible shape, and I'm sure they fancy their chances of the upset.
Yeah, of course, you don't obviously have to focus on training camp and focus solely on Jack Catterall, so how likely do you think if Taylor's to get the win, a Crawford fight would be up at welterweight straight away after fighting Catterall if he's successful?
Well, Josh is with the global powerhouse that is Top Rank, who have so many great, wonderful fighters at all sorts of weights all around the world. Also, Boxer are going to build a big stable here. and we're going to support Josh Taylor every step of the way. We finally got him back on Sky. We don't want to let him go now. So we're going to be doing everything we can to build his profile. I think that's important because he's very, very well known in the boxing world. He's very, very well known in Scotland. But, he'll be the first to admit that you walk down the street and probably the casual fans don't know, and they should know, but they don't know quite how good he is. So that's the job of the top-ranked PR team. That's the job of us to build him. I'm delighted that he's on Sky Sports. That's a really important thing. So he'll have a huge audience watching him on February the 26th. That's big eyeballs. There's some fun links. He loves motorbikes and racing, and he's got lots of connections. He's good mates with Andy Robertson, I think. So there's lots of connections we can work on to build the story. He's a family man. But he's a great guy, Josh, and I think his character can come out in the months ahead. But the most important thing is what he does in the ring, obviously. So we'll work at that side, and he needs just to concentrate. He's got a phenomenal trainer. I really, really admire Ben Davidson. I think he's brilliant. And look what he's done with Lee Wood. He's got a wonderful stable. A lot of who've come down today, the likes of Mark Dickinson and the McCormacks who are ready to go, and Lee Wood's been a terrific story. So Ben's done a great job with Josh, but I think he's just taking somebody that obviously has had a lot of experience with Shane McGuigan, great trainer too, and who's brought him to a point, and he's just polishing little things because Josh is a natural talent and a natural winner, and that's why we love him.
A moment ago you mentioned Ricky Hatton. Funnily enough, I watched the documentary you did on him years ago now when he first moved out of his parents' house, and you walked with him from his parents to his house. And kind of the point I'm getting to is you've been with Sky for a long time, and Sky, British boxing with Sky has been around for a long time. The transition from Eddie Hearn is what I'm getting to here. How do you think it's obviously started? I've got a few questions, but...
Look, Eddie and I had a great relationship and still do. He's a fantastic guy. He's a wonderful promoter, extraordinarily charismatic, and we had some wonderful times together. I think he was absolutely at the epicenter of bringing boxing back after London 2012, and those nights with Froch and Groves at Wembley, and then the stadium shows with AJ, and just incredible memories, and magical to sort of build the sport. And now you look at it and you see the competition of DAZN and BT and Sky. It's very healthy for fans and very healthy for fighters, all this competition. Difficult, obviously, very hard year. Feels like a sort of friendly divorce. I spoke to Eddie every single day, and that was tough, getting to terms with the fact that he's moving in one direction, we're moving another. But I work for Sky, and I got introduced properly to Ben. I'd known about him, but Ben and I have been working in a sort of similar manner that Eddie and I used to every day, religiously, very, very, very much 24/7. A lot of phone calls late at night that my family have got to put up with, and Ben being a lot younger at 28, but he's got that drive, and I love that, and I've been really excited about the challenge. He's got John Wischusen working alongside him, who's obviously we know very well from our time at Matchroom and Sky. So I really like the boxer team, and I think the Sky team have sort of got their mojo back a bit as well. Quite difficult when DAZN came in, and we were sort of balancing both, or Matchroom were balancing Sky and DAZN. We work well with them, but obviously now it's a competitive element. We watch them with interest. I watch all their shows. I'm watching BT shows. I watched the Yard show last week. I watched Katie. Katie's a friend of our families. I watch her on Saturday nights, obviously, and Conor Ben. We have great relationships with them, and that doesn't change. And Eddie's also chairman of Matchroom, and we're doing the darts next week. The World's at Ali Pali, and so there's a lot of crossover still. But as far as we're concerned, it's about Sky. It's about rebuilding boxing on Sky. It's a new era. It's a fresh chance with two new promoters. One in Top Rank who's been very established, and one in Boxer who are going to become very established. And I've really enjoyed the challenge. And I think if you'd asked me sort of in May or June whether I thought we'd get to Christmas or by the end of the year as strongly as we have, I would say no. But I think we've been smart. We've made some very good signings. Savannah Marshall was very important. Tasha Jonas, obviously. Lots of them, the likes of Hughie Fury and Ebony Jones, and then Caroline Dubois, and now Fraser Clark from the Olympians. We've worked long and hard behind the scenes, and we're very, very pleased with the position we're in. I think the Azim brothers are going to be very exciting, and and then there'll be stories like Dan Aziz coming through, and different ones. So Richard Riakpor's been leading the line a little bit. He's going to have a massive 2022. Very excited. So Clarissa Shields as well, and the Top Rank stable. I think it's dovetailed well because we've had really, really impressive shows from Top Rank with the likes of Crawford Porter and Inoue, and we've got Vasil Lomachenko this weekend. We've got Batebiev next weekend, mixing with the sort of new, fresh, creative look of Boxer and their tournament shows as well. Enjoy the one in Liverpool. Look out for another one probably in March. And we're excited about the new transition. So in a long-winded way, yes, I think it's a work in progress. We all our fighters left and went to DAZN, and we wish them well. But we're rebuilding, and I think we're rebuilding well.
Yeah, I think it's been a huge surprise. Obviously, the first show with Eubank Jr. pulling out his opponent about a day before, I think it was, and then to come onto this new year with 3 of the biggest fights potentially of 2022 in the first 2 months is phenomenal.
Always take these things with a pinch of salt, because you can be up and you can be down in boxing, and I've worked at Sky nearly 28 years, and so there's been plenty of both of those. But I think what we have done is we've stayed loyal to the sport year in, year out. We've been definitely around most of the big fights and fighters over the last 3 decades, and we're here to stay, and we're here to stay very powerfully, supported by huge football contracts and audience, by Formula One, by the darts, by the cricket, by the golf, by the netball, by the NFL, by everything. There's a huge huge amount for our customers to enjoy on Sky Sports, and I'm really pleased that of those 3 fights in the new year, only one is on Sky Sports box office. We've got 2 big fights on Sky Sports either side, and I think that shows our intentions and shows what we want to do and the way we want to go forward.
And last of all, kind of on the wider scale, it's good to see you guys saying that you're watching BT shows and DAZN are happy for people to go on other platforms, things like that. Do you think on the wider scale, now Eddie's moved to DAZN and there's more people and more platforms, it's only going to be better for boxing in general?
Of course it is. It's only going to be great for the sport. That's what, and competition is what keeps us on our toes and tries to make us better. Of course it is. It's we have a night every year. I'm part of the Boxing Writers Club where everyone gets together. Unfortunately, we haven't had that for a couple of years with COVID, but we're looking forward to getting everyone back in May, and that's where all the promoters come and the sort of knives and the pens are down for a night, and everyone sort of gets on, because it is a fraternity. It is a community boxing, and we wouldn't be here without the fighters. The fighters are the greatest part. I always say that. We have huge respect, and just because Katie Taylor or Conor Benn or Lawrence Okoli have gone off and fighting on another platform doesn't mean we're not as interested and we're not going to watch. I'm a fight fan. I watch everything, but of course, I'm a businessman too, and Sky's my business, and I want to make sure that we give Sky customers the best value we can from the world of boxing, and I think we have over the years, and I think we'll continue to do that.
Well, thank you very much for joining me for the first time on Seconds Out. Pleasure to talk to you about, obviously, the big fight, February 26th, and the start of the year on Sky is going to be exciting as well. So, yeah, thank you very much, first time.
A pleasure. Keep wearing that Kronk shirt, the gold of Kronk. Cheers.